Okay, great. So I think now we're good to go. So welcome everyone to the webinar also from my side. Great to have you all here today to dive into service management with us. And yeah, we're really looking forward to giving you some input and to discussing your questions. I'll share with you what we have planned for today. After welcoming you, Chris and me will briefly introduce ourselves before we then directly jump into 3 main topics that we want to cover in this webinar. Chris will provide a quick general introduction to Jira Service Management. I will then focus on internal service management and show you a way to add and work with additional profile data, which will help you improve the internal customer support experience using our app, User Profiles for Jira. And then Chris will focus on service management with external customers, and he will share with you how to better manage customer details and profit from that in customer-facing situations with the app Customer and Organization Management. And yeah, as already said, we reserved some time at the end of the session to answer your questions and to have some further discussions. And yeah, that's it. And then I'd say I'll start with my introduction part. My name is Maria Händler, and I'm a communication psychologist. I have worked in a few different roles for different companies so far, and much of my professional experience has been related to work focused on user experience and also conversion optimization before I then transitioned to working as a product owner and joined Comunado in that role. Comunado develops products that are designed to make business collaboration effective, fast, and fun. And we are active in 2 ecosystems. We are Microsoft Gold certified partner, and we are Atlassian Platinum Solution partner, as well as Atlassian Gold marketplace partner. At Comunado, software engineers, consultants, support and service specialists work with our clients, and because we have both a consulting and a product business, we can join forces. So we take the problems that keep coming up and develop apps to solve them, which helps in the end to make also Atlassian products even better. If you're interested in any more specific things here, feel free to also ask them later on. And yeah, that having said, I think it's your introduction part now, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Maria, and welcome everyone. Now I'll tell you a few words about AppsVio. It was funded by 3 friends, as you can see on this picture. We've been in the ecosystem for many years. Apart from me, there is Kate, who takes care of our apps as CPO, and there is also Peter, who deals with all technical aspects of our solutions as CTO. Our apps available on Marketplace are popular, which made us a silver Marketplace partner. Atlassian invested in our company last year as part of the Atlassian Ventures program, which is great support for our development. And yeah, our activities outside the Marketplace and community also includes hackathons, mainly Atlassian Code Games, in which we won 3 times in a row. And as a company, we focus primarily on Jira Service Management, and this is why, together with Maria from Comunado, we'll talk about increasing the quality of requests in JSM. And probably level of knowledge and experience in JSM in our group today differs. So let's start from a short introduction. JSM is a separate Atlassian product to support IT and service teams. It has 2 sides. The client's side, which you see now, which is called Customer Portal, and there's also a support team side. The first is a special place to create toolkits by customers. Usually for the external customers, but what's important here, we can also have employees, which are usually called the internal customers. And the portal has a few views. So you saw the help center, which collects all customer portals. when you click on service portal, you'll see the available list of request types, which are sometimes called a service catalog. And when you click on the request type, you'll see the request type form on which you have fields and custom fields to fill out by the customer. And once the ticket is created, or the request, because it's called request from the customer portal side, then we have something like this, and this is a main place for communication between the customer and the support team. From the agent side, we have a well-known issue view with all options like changing the status, SLA metrics, and other fields and custom fields. So at the end of this very short introduction to the JSM, it's worth mentioning the roles that we have in this product. So we distinguish two types of users: licensed and iLicense. And licensed users can interact with a service project. iLicense users can also interact with a service project, but in a very limited way. And agents are licensed users. So this group benefits the most from Comunardo and our solutions. So let's see how user profile can boost agents' productivity.
Yes, I'll tell you about user profiles for Jira. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are going to cover two aspects of service management today. Customers in Jira Service Management or in service management context in general can be external customers that you are offering support to, and customers in Jira Service Management can also be all internal employees at a company. And in this case, we are looking at the internal services that are needed throughout the organization, which includes personnel, procurement, also facility management, marketing, and of course IT. And they are usually provided by a central service area for all departments. And with user profiles can help you manage these internal services with the goal to be more efficient and to provide a better experience for all involved parties. So what we want to do with user profiles, what we want to provide, is all required user information to enable the most efficient and consistent way to work in Jira. And therefore, we are addressing needs such as to simplify processes and to help employees handling issues fast and correctly. And this can be done with user profiles as we are able to provide more context and additional contact options on Jira issues, but also because you can enhance your possibilities for using workflows, reporting, building queues, and all operations based on JQL, with the results in improved processes and higher productivity then. And what is also really important with user profiles, we are synchronizing fields with Azure Active Directory automatically. That means that your team can be sure to work based on consistent and reliable user data. To show this slide and switch directly into the demo actually. During the next few minutes, I would like to show you some examples of how the app can help you improve your internal service management work. But before that, I will also briefly go through the setup behind the additional data so that you can see how this is done. And yeah, also how easy this is done. So what do we technically do with user profiles for Jira in the cloud? As I said, we provide additional user profile information for the work within Jira. And with the cloud app, we sync this data from Azure Active Directory. To get the data, you need to set up the connection to Microsoft first, which is done in a pretty straightforward process. You just need to enter your tenant domain name of the company's Microsoft tenant that you want to connect and that you want to sync the information from. And then send this link that's then generated to your Microsoft admin to get consent from them. And once this is done, you can configure standard custom fields based on the info from the Active Directory. This here is a list of fields that are already created for this demo instance. And I quickly also show you how you would create new ones. you would just need to fill out this dialog here, providing a custom field name, selecting the attribute that you want to sync, and also if you want to see this information for the reporter or assignee later on the issue. And here in this dropdown, you can see all standard attributes that you can select for being synchronized. Yeah, and going here, then that's the custom field, general custom field overview that shows us that we provide the information as read-only text fields or also as user picker format. If you want the data to be displayed at issues, you need to associate them to the corresponding screens. I did that already for those fields that are created here, as you can see. So yeah, you'll recognize them when I now switch to the project for going through some use cases as promised. So yeah, let's have a look on how this setup can help you with your internal service management work. So this is the service management project that we will work with today for the user profiles case. And it is supposed to handle internal business services. So let's imagine there's a colleague from the purchasing department working in this project and receiving plenty of tickets with different contents. One first common request could be that an employee wants to take a special training for developing her skills further, and the agent should take over the booking of that training course. So here, for example, Lynn is raising such a training request, and I'd say let's check out her ticket. You can see the details she provided for the request here, and you can see some additional information in this section here. And there is the manager, location, country, and also business phone number of the reporter available too. And these 4 fields are created with user profiles. You might recognize them. If you imagine now the agent struggling with such a request, some details of it that she needs a timely answer for, she could simply use the phone number here that is displayed at the ticket and call in to clarify things directly and to speed up the process. In fact, we know that the phone number is one of the most frequently used fields out of those that we offer for synchronization. Yeah, and that's already the first use case, providing additional user information that can help to speed up the work on issues. But let's also look at one more example. Another colleague wants to get a new phone and phone contract. And for this use case, I will be switching browser windows since I want to show you the different ticket views for different roles. So next to my normal profile here, we have an orange one for Alex, this one. He's going to raise a request. And we have a green one for Lynn, who is Alex manager. Okay, so let's start here for this use case with ticket creation. Alex uses the portal. You would probably see, that's not what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, you would probably join the help center here, select the right project to raise a request in, and then select the right issue type. Yeah, and then he would see this form. In our case here, he has just to provide a summary and some details to not make it overly complex for the webinar today. And I would now copy something in. Yep, and send that. When the request is sent, he gets this view. And you can see down here that it is waiting for approval now. And if we want to, can do it like that. want to have a look at the ticket now, we can see that Alex manager is Lynn, and Lynn needs to approve this request before the agent can work on it. So let's now switch to Lynn's window. And I think, yes, this request should be visible here. So in Lynn's view, she now sees the option to approve or decline as the next necessary step. And she would also have these options available in the portal view. Yeah, so once she approves, let's do it right here. The ticket switches then to the next status. And also for Alex, after refreshing, this is reflected in his view. So let's take a closer look at that approval configuration of the workflow, because we used user profiles fields to set this approval step up, and therefore I switched to my regular tab in data for now. So yeah, we're good to go. There are project settings, and within the project settings, workflows. And here you can see some different workflows that are used for this project, and the one for the procurement is here. Yeah, this one directly starts with the waiting for approval status after creation. And this includes an approval step. And if I now also enter the configuration of this approval step, you can see that the approver source is a Jira field. And this Jira field is our manager of reporter, one that you hopefully recognize from the table that I showed you earlier. Yes, and that's how it's done. So that's the magic behind it. And yeah, of course, it would be possible to add this approval by the reporter's manager at every other stage of the procurement process too. So you can do this whenever it is needed. Now, switching to the ticket maybe. The advantage for the agent is, of course, that there is a workflow covering the approval, first of all, but also that the relevant approver is synced via user profile. So everyone involved can be sure that the ticket will go the intended way, and nobody needs to take care of anything here or needs to find out things manually. And when the agent now processes this ticket or this task, she also has some other helpful information directly available at the ticket with these user profile informations. So for being able to choose the right contract or conditions for a new phone contract, it is relevant for her to know in which country the colleague is working, simply because there are different conditions in different countries. So luckily, this information is directly visible. And also the location could be of interest for her because she directly knows which address is the right one to apply as shipping address. So to sum this one up, next to providing helpful information at the ticket, this example also showed the usage of the fields within the workflow approval step. And since the fields that our app creates are all standard custom fields, you can easily use them not only in workflows, as you just saw, but also with automations or for filtering relevant information and so on. Yeah, and then there is one more thing that I would like to show you that might be interesting in the context of service management projects. And this is using the synced information for managing queues. A customer that I recently talked to told me that they would like to create VIP queues, for example, based on the position of their employees, based on the job title. And I thought it was a catchy example for the demo today. So yeah, let's go with this one. And click on Manage Queues. and start to create a new one. We need to give that one a name and then adjust the filter. And if I do that, you can see that there is another field available for selection, and that's the job title of the reporter. That's another field created by user profiles. It is not visible on the screens, but you can nevertheless make use of it here. And yeah, I put that now as another filter. And let's say everyone who is working as a director in the company is an VIP for us now, and their tickets should add up in a separate queue. So I update accordingly and also create this queue now. And you can see it here. You can, of course, also move it to team priority queue and so on. But this now is available based on this, like next to the others, based on the user profiles attribute and the filter that was created with it. Yes, and that's already what I wanted to show as some examples on how you could make use of our app and the fields created with it. So to sum it up again, you can display essential user information at tickets. You can use the data to efficiently work with Jira, for example, by setting up approval processes or automations and so on. And you can also be sure that the info you are working with is always up to date due to the synchronization with the Active Directory. Yeah, so much for the demo part. And I switch back to the presentation because there's one more slide that I would like to show you to take the chance to quickly tell you also about a new feature that we are going to release soon within the next weeks. And I'll explain that a bit. Let's think of the first use case that I shared with you today again. It was about Lynn and the agent using the displayed phone number to directly clarify an open question with her. In case Lynn wouldn't answer the call, the agent would probably, as a next step, decide to give the ticket back to her with his her question commented. And now imagine Lynn is out of office during the next days and will not be responding. Right now, this information wouldn't be available for the agent, and that could lead to whether some extra effort and some frustration along the process. So we thought of, with the next release, providing with the ticket view something after assigning that will contain a message like this, pointing out that the assignee is currently out of office. We take that info from the Outlook out of office settings, and yeah, with this info being provided, the agent can directly decide to wait for Lynn to come back, or if the matter is really urgent, to ask someone else for help, Lynn's manager, for example. Yeah, so we will provide something like that, hoping that it's helpful. It might also be interesting for external customer support situations, in case a first-level service agent needs support from an internal expert and yeah, would assign the ticket, and then yeah, he could directly know whether this person is out of office or available to help him with the further support. Yeah, and that's it. And we kind of have a good segue to Chris' part for some insights on handling requests from external customers.
Yeah, I would talk about our solution dedicated mainly to external customers. And but I will again start with a short introduction to the customer and organization management field. So many of you know the CRM system. Even if you're not familiar with them, it's likely that you use them at work. They collect all information about the customer and other type of objects, and also record all activity related to them. They have also features to support sales teams by providing the sales funnel or history of transactions. very often. They also have a marketing automation part. Yeah, and in specific cases, Jira can be used as a CRM, but it's not dedicated to that. And of course, you can find some apps on the marketplace to help transform Jira into CRM, but well, in my opinion, they will never replace the real CRM tools which we can find on the market, such as the Salesforce or the HubSpot. Yeah, regarding the customer and organization management, it's about storing data and using data we collect from the customers. And why customer and organization is so important. So it's especially important in large-scale JSM instances. First, we want to have control over customer accounts. It's important to have information about customers and organizations at hand. Moreover, adding customers to the portal or updating their attributes cannot be done manually, and I'm pretty sure no one of us would like to update addresses for 3,000 or even more customers manually. Just as no one would want to switch between projects and add clients to each one separately. In the case of large instances, we often deal with more advanced processes like approvals or various SLA metrics. So it's important that those customer data can be part of the workflow. And we have a big gap in a native JSM solution in this area. Basically, without extensions, it's impossible to manage larger JSM Jiras. There's no way to store attributes, additional attributes about the customers or organizations. There's no easy way to import new customers with those extra data. Yeah, we have prepared a demo for you. Let me switch to another tab. So all starts with the fields definition. As we store additional data, it's about fields. We have fields that are for the customers and for the organizations. When you install the app, you will see 2 fields available in the app, but you can easily add more fields from this list. This is the list of the fields type which is available in the app. So all you can do is just to use a drag and drop, and you're almost set. In the field settings, you can find 2 extra options. Like the first one is about permission, who can edit the field, and you have option to set that the field will be editable only by the customers or only by the agents. And there's also the very similar feature regarding the visibility, so we can set that the field will be visible only to the agent. It might be useful for fields that store sensitive information like the status of the customer or something like that. So and the same with the organization, of course. You have available the same type of fields, but it's a separate list of fields. As you can see, in the organizations, I have 4 fields. In the customers, I have a little bit more fields. What's more, for the fields of type the drop-down or checkboxes, there's also a translation option. So we can translate the field's name and the descriptions and also the options. So it's also available for those that speak of the language that is set in the Jira as a default language. And yeah, so when we have all fields defined, our agents can start using the app, and this is the main place where agents work with our application. So this is list of all customers from our Jira instance. And we have several handy tools here, like filtering the table, so we can search by a specific value from a specific column. There's also option to add more columns to the table, and this is one of the feature that is very powerful is a search feature, which was added recently. So it doesn't matter how many customers you have, you can search by the name in a second. So I'll try to find myself, and as you can see, it works pretty fast. I have also information about the projects that the customers is connected. There is some information about open and close requests, and of course the rest columns are about the fields that we defined in the app. From this view, we can also use the import feature to upload CSV file with your customers or organizations. It might be useful when you have hundreds or even thousands of them to import into the Jira Service Management, because out of the box there is only the manual way of doing that. Or you can also open, of course, the service portal to accept all customers' requests from the internet, based on the domain as well. So and the second place where we can collect data and we can preview data as agents is, of course, the issue view. So when we work on the issue as an agent, sometimes we just wanted to preview the data of the reporter, to contact the reporter, or just to check something. So what we would need is just clicking here, and we'll see the same set of fields with values. And as an agent, I can change the values here. And there's also organizations tab. So if the reporter belongs to the organization, it will be displayed here, and you will see the fields that we previously defined in the organization settings. The next place where we could provide data for the customers is on the customer portal. So I'm a customer right now, and this is my profile page on the customer portal. And here you see a similar view to change my my data, and the same with the organization. So if I belong to an organization, I will have right to set some fields, some values to available fields. And there's one more way of gathering data from the portal, and to be honest, it's my favorite one. But to show you how it works, I need to enable it first. Why is my favorite one? Because it supports the self-service approach. So imagine that your customers log into the customer portal for the first time, and there's a need to accept some kind of agreement to use the customer portal, or just to gather information about the contact data. So there should be a dialog here. Let me refresh the page. Oh, page unresponsible. So I'll wait. And on the dialog that should be visible in a second, you will see the fields, the same set of fields that are available in the profile. Seems like something is not working. So this is always a risk of making live presentations. So I will try to modify the form. Let's go to maybe to the service desk page. Okay, it's something that we need to check, but there is a dialog here to gather information or additional information about the customers. This is definitely something that we need to validate. Okay, and yeah, maybe now, yeah. Maybe my internet connection is slow somehow, but never mind. You see the dialog here with the fields, and as a customer, I can provide values, and I can also update values in the fields that are available to me. And as I also mentioned, there are several use cases for gathering consents or contact data, which is basically the basic use case for this feature. Yeah, and there is also one of the feature which works on a workflow level. So we provide post function to copy data from the app into the custom fields, because the data that you collect are stored in the app. They are not a custom fields, but there's a way to copy data from the apps fields to the custom fields. And if you have them in the custom fields, then you could search issues by the attributes of the reporter or of the organization, and basically you can use those data in your workflow. So I will show you one of the example. So it will be a test ticket. So when I go to the profile page, you will see that I belong to the apps buyer organization, and within this organization there's a field called SLA level, which is set to 60 minutes. What does it mean? So when I created a ticket, there's a post function in the on the create transition, which copied the value from this field to the custom field. And right now we will see this here. This is the support level is a regular custom field. So our post function just copied this value here, and based on this information, we set the 1 hour goal in our first response time SLA metric. And once I change this on my profile to 24 hours, and when I go back and create another ticket, you'll see that the SLA metric changed to 24 hours. So basically, we are able to change the behavior or change the SLA goals based on the data that we store in the customer and organization app. Yeah, you see it's 24 hours. Yeah, and that's pretty all about the application. So I will switch back to my presentation for a moment. Because there are some alternatives to customer and organization management. So if you have Active Directory or Azure at your company, then you can use the app that Marie mentioned, the user profiles. I think it's a very good choice. But there's also option to store data about your customers or organizations in an external tool like Excel or even the Confluence page, but the problem is that all updates needs to be done manually. So it probably would work for 10, 20, maybe 50 employees or customers. But if you have more, then you will need some more automation or some dedicated tool to do that. Or maybe you have an external tool like the Hotspot or Salesforce that you use in your team. So then you can gather information from them and show on the ticket level if that's the business need. But of course, if you don't have them, that the integration is really not needed. Yeah, and we are approaching the end of the presentation that we have prepared. So we have links to the apps you saw today. If you saw some interesting use cases, then please make evaluation to see how those apps can improve your agent works. Yeah, this is time for the Q&A. So I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. And yeah, let's see if we have any questions.
Thank you very much, Chris and Maria, for explaining to us how to boost the quality of handling requests in Jira Service Management. And there are some questions coming up from participants today. I will read them. One question is from Patrick. I also see a lot of use cases where assets formerly inside is being used as storing contact information. Do you plan to offer a connector that you can sync user attributes based on Azure profile data, such as department manager? Patrick is asking for that. Maybe
Yeah.
Maria, yeah.
Yeah, that's referring to our app. Yes, so we know that requirement, and we are in exchange with our colleagues also from Combinado that are consulting service management customers, most of all in ITSM. And yeah, we know that they would really like to have such an option, because you would then be able to sync these attributes, to not just store them there and have to update them manually, but to sync them. But we are also like, there's also this request towards Atlassian to provide such an option, and we're also like tracking the progress there. And for now, we decided to not to do that. Yeah, we of course will follow the development there, but for now I can say it's not planned currently.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Maria, for your answer. Another question is coming from Katarzyna. Where is the data stored? I'm asking afraid of security issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chris, okay, thank you.
Yes, so I think that it's a question regarding the customer and organization app. So at this moment, the data are stored in the app database. We are thinking about migrating to the Forge platform, which give us ability to store data on Atlassian side. So in the long term, this is something that we'd like to achieve. At this moment, it's a common app, like 90% of other apps available on the marketplace. So there's no need to worry about the data. And yeah, so in the long term, we would like to migrate to the Forge. For now, the data are stored on the app side.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And another question is, could you please tell more about support field types in the form? How many support field types are in the form?
Yeah, so probably it's again about our app. So at this moment, we support, I don't remember how many exactly, but like 10 or 11 fields or type of fields. And we are extremely open to support more type of fields So if you need something like, I don't know, user picker, for example, then you can just mail us to our support and we'll work on that.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Emily, for your feedback. Emily is saying, "Whoa, love the new feature." Thank you very much. And Andre is asking, how can I get data from Salesforce into CNO, for example, for SLA level with the help of REST API? Yeah. Could you, Chris?
Yeah. So the question is about getting data from the Salesforce, right? To to the customer and organization app, right?
Yeah. With the help of REST API,
Yeah, so I see two ways of doing that. Like the first one is preparing a CSV file from the Salesforce, or making some kind of export there and import the file in our app. This is the first way, but it's just a one action operation. If you need something more complex like the synchronization, or you have thousands of users or customers who would like to move, then the app provides the REST API for the basic operations, like CRUD operations. So you can basically create customers or organizations via the REST API endpoints.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much for attending our webinar.